She romanced me.
Got it.
Is it weird to you? I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get comfortable with it.
Did she hold the door for you?
Yo, no, we're not.
I could see a pedicure.
Would you?
Depends on his feet.
That could be Mara's feet. And you could do it.
No way, you about to be cutting up my hands.
Yo, what's going on? This is
The Tim and Tam Talks. All right, look, bring it home. Let's get into this.
We're gonna have a lot of great conversations.
What's up, people? Happy Tuesday. You're tuned in to Tim and Tam Talks, the podcast. We're actually the back Pew Podcast. I'm Tam.
What's up, y'all? I'm Tim. What's good, Tam? How are you, sis?
I'm good. New week, new topics. So excited to get into it this week.
As always, excited to get in all the topics with you. So we thank you guys for joining us here on this great Tuesday night. We are in the last month of 2023. We're in December, y'all.
Wow.
It's crazy how fast this year has gone. So we thank you guys for rocking with us throughout this year. Please remember that, we are interactive as always. So go ahead and follow, subscribe, like down at the bottom, as well as on all the social media outlets, YouTube, here at Facebook as well. And join the conversation. Comment below. We would love to hear from you guys based on the topics that we have or based on anything that you would like to say. So we will get to your comments at some point. All right, Tim. So you ready to pop this thing off? What we talking about tonight?
Listen, you running point this week, so you tell me. What are you talking about?
Well, we have one topic that has been pretty interesting, been circulating on the Shade Room, different social media outlets, of course. Would you stop an inconsistent parent who continues to come in and out of a child's life? What would you do in those situations? So there was a man who had a conversation with another man about this topic. So take a listen.
I think my trauma is, it's better that my dad was away. It's gonna sound mad.
No, I've said this the whole time.
He wasn't there.
Like, my dad was inconsistent. Then from 9 till 16, didn't see him. Comes back in, again inconsistent. I would have much rather preferred you stay away, because that's what I was used to. When someone comes in and out, you're confusing me now. You're giving me questions. Is it something I've done? It's interesting what you said, trauma, and forgiveness. What did forgiveness look like?
I think forgiveness was no longer holding the resentment. So the forgiveness let me free. Forgiveness wasn't for him. It was forgiveness.
It took the weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, it took the weight off my shoulders. It wasn't for him. It allowed me to basically, I wasn't going to have a relationship with him because I got too old to now want a relationship with him. Meaning that when I needed you, at my crucial years, you weren't there, which is fine. Yeah. So for me now, it was more getting the weight off my shoulders. And now that I can breathe again. And a lot of it was on my mum. I had to forgive.
To hear this brother talk about the impact his father had on him when he was not there in his crucial years between the age of 9 and 16, when they are very crucial years. To hear him say all those things, I could totally relate. Totally relate.
Wow.
I would have preferred the same thing. My father was inconsistent as well. I love my father. He is a cool dude. He's cool. But at the same time, as a child, he was inconsistent. And so when I needed him, he wasn't there. He would be in and out of the house, separating all those different things. At that point, I would have wished that he would have stayed gone. Because at that point, as I gotten older, it was a thing where it was like I didn't necessarily need you. So my way of trying to forgive was to forget that you weren't around. Mm-hmm. But of course, that doesn't work in that way. And then you want to come in and out, and you get mixed signals in that situation. You continue to get mixed signals when the person wants to be in and out of your life, and then you question their intentions, their motives. And at that point, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder over somebody that gave you life on top of that. And so, yeah, at that point, it was like better for me to just go. And so, and to stay away, and then to not harbor the resentment. So is there resentment? No, there isn't. And I enjoy my life not having to look over my shoulder wondering, does that person going to give me the love that I need and deserve, or am I cool with not receiving it and being at peace with it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's this topic is very challenging. I'm trying to figure out what I can and cannot say in my mind without being too personal. But I want to be personal. I want to be open with you guys. I want to be open with you, Tim. There was a season last year, actually, for almost a full year, where my kids did not see their dad. And what was challenging through that season was because, you know, we talked about, like, I grew up with both parents. So for my kids to not have access to their dad upset me, because I'm just like, they deserve both of us. They need, you know, both of us. But there were some things that my kids should not have been exposed to being around him. So when you say, like, would you stop an inconsistent parent and who hasn't been there, or who maybe checks in and out, it's challenging, because it's like, okay, well, maybe they got their stuff together, you know, see your dad. We're going to let him, you know, we're going to let him back in. And hopefully this time he'll stick around and see the value of his presence in your life. But not everybody sees that value in themselves, nor do they see the value that they have in other people or for other people. And I think throughout this year, I had to realize that. And, you know, when you realize that, you can come across people that say, well, you're trying to keep the kids away. So I wish I would have heard the ending of his video when he talked about his mom. He had to forgive his mom as well, you know? And I wanted to know, like, what for? Like, what was her part? I'm pretty sure she had a part, right? Everybody has a part. But what was her part? You know, what did you need to heal from or to forgive her for as you were going through that inconsistency with your dad? Was it that she was welcoming that interaction, which caused more damage? Right? Or was she pushing him away, which caused the inconsistency? Right? So there's a lot of things. And then that leads to, well, can a woman cause inconsistency? Right? Can we cause that? Or is it up for that adult to just do what needs to be done because they're an adult, right? So there's so many different variables. And I think after listening to that, if I were with someone with my kid who I had kids with and they were being inconsistent, I would not allow that person to run in and out of their life, because I've seen, like, within my own kids kind of the effects of that. It wasn't like gaps like he was talking about, but I do see, like, even a short amount of time, you know, the kids always wonder, like, is it me? You know, what am I doing wrong? Why don't I have this relationship? And then they see other people with their dad, which causes more harm and more trauma. And the other person, you know, they may not, because they're not with the kids, they don't get to see that reaction or, you know, the harm. So yeah, it's challenging. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, because you're like, danged if you do, danged if you don't in this situation. What if you really, you're just like, no, the last time was the last time.
So let's go back. Let's kind of unpack this a little bit. He talked about how we wish that we could have heard the end of the gentleman when he was talking about forgiving his mom. Mm-hmm. I think that what moms can do in creating the inconsistencies is being indecisive about what the best move is in their own relationship. You still got to make that choice and decision for yourself first to make sure that, is this something that you really want to be into, or are you going to take everybody down this emotional roller coaster back and forth? Because the kids see that. Yeah. So we as kids, we still see certain things, right?
Yeah.
We got a comment here. You want to pop this one off?
Yeah. Gemini says, I think a man deserves unlimited chances These men who spoke are the result of men who could never complete the mission on his returns. My pops got it right eventually, and it played out right. We all have to accept that it's a coin toss for each of us. And as an adult, we either learn what not to do or we learn what to do, and we pass that lesson to our own.
I respect your opinion, definitely. And I'm glad that you were able to give your father multiple chances. I mean, I think that's beautiful for your story. I think it gives people a lot of hope. So I think that's amazing. I really, really think that that's amazing that you were able to reconcile with your father. But there is a flip side to that as well. How many opportunities and chances should we give people for them to continue to hurt us? And how many times do we need to stay in toxic relationships with people and just so that they can get it right? We're not supposed to be someone's pawn. We're not supposed to be an accordion to be played on. Those are things that we still have true feelings, emotions, and all those things. And just to wait for someone to get it right and for them to play on our emotions, for them to get it right, to me, that's unwise. Mm-hmm. You can still love people from afar and still say, okay, I love you, but the relationship has to look different. The dynamic has to look different. And until you're willing to heal from things that have made this dynamic toxic, then we have nowhere to go. And so, and to me, that's more wisdom than trying to fit a square peg into a round hole of a relationship that's just not working. So while that's your mom, that's your dad, that's your parent, but you still have to have some type of boundaries around your heart. You talk about it all the time. Guard your heart.
Yeah.
Right. So above all, I gotta guard my heart, but it doesn't mean I gotta continuously give people the same chances over and over and over to hurt us. So there is two sides to it. Mm-hmm. If your tolerance level is to give your parents unlimited chances, I respect that. Mm-hmm. And can no one tell you you're wrong in that case. But it also is a thing about making sure you're wise to protect your heart too.
Yeah. You know what's challenging with that though is, mind you, he said he was 6 to 13 or whatever the case, whatever he named. Like a kid is not going to have that mindset. The mom might, right? Or the parent might, because it can be reverse cases. So the parent might have that mindset, but then you come across the other parent who's saying, I'm trying to see you, but your mom won't let me. I'm trying to see you, but your dad won't let me, right? And the mom is doing, or the dad is doing what's in the best interest of the child. And then they placate that scenario or that situation to act as if they didn't cause the initial damage. So it's so much. I was like, I don't feel like one answer, there's one solution for these types of cases. There simply isn't, because then you have that resentment with the kid. If the mom is saying, no, you can't see your dad, you might have resentment with your child. And you're like, you're doing it with their best interest at heart, but they don't, they think like a kid. They think like a teenager or whatever the case may be. So I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for y'all.
That's fair. That's fair. But we have some more responses here. So Gemini, you replied back and said, and that's the lesson you pass on. It's very true. That's exactly what you got to do. My lovely wife, Miss Allie. I have always told my kids titles do not matter when it comes to your value and respect. If it wasn't a dad and just a friend, we would tell our kids to keep giving chances. Why would we teach them to take inconsistencies from people who are supposed to always love, protect them, and show them what consistency looks like? That is very true, too. It's a true statement. It is a true statement, in my opinion, because we definitely want to teach our kids to treat people the same way across the board, number one. And we don't want to, and no one is entitled to just treat us any kind of way because of who they are to us. If it's the title of a mother or father, they just get unlimited chances. But that's a choice individually that you can make.
Yeah. When you show up with grace, I was like, I agree with you when you say like, if somebody is ruining their own brand by not showing up or being inconsistent, guarding your heart means that you may still have grace for them, but they don't get the same type of access. Maybe they no longer get the overnight. Maybe they get like an hour at McDonald's to see if you show up at McDonald's. Okay. Because if you don't, we can still get our happy meal and we can hang out, right? So they don't have to wait by the door for you, and it's like this sad thing. So maybe, to your point, as you continue to be inconsistent, maybe the access to your heart actually changes, even though you're still operating in grace. Who knows? I don't know.
It's a good point. All right. Well, we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about something a little interesting. So it's pretty funny to me. It has been a rough week for our boy Coach Prime. So Coach Deion Sanders has had just a heck of a week. So for guys that you don't know, so Deion Sanders and his now ex-girlfriend Tracy Edmonds, who is the ex-wife of Babyface Edmonds, has announced their separation. Now, this comes after Coach Prime, if you watch sports, he is the University of Colorado's head coach. He has lost so many recruits through the transfer portal in college football, and he has also lost coaches, and he really looks bad after a record of 4-8 this season. So all that bravado that Coach Prime was talking was great. It definitely set him up for a great second season, I think, if they can get the right people. But nonetheless, that's something that we definitely will monitor. Why you look like that?
Listen, you lose me in sports, y'all. I'm just along for the ride. You hear me? Go ahead.
I threw a curveball in there tonight about sports. I said, because we're a great podcast where we talk about back Pew stuff and we talk about all these different cultural topics, but we like to have a little fun here too and talk, some sports, some nice little things like that. So yeah, we had to throw it in there.
So Coach Prime, is he married or is that just his fiance?
They were seriously dating for a long time.
Got it.
Yeah. But it was amicable. They both went on social media and
they always say that
they still got love for each other, and they got a great PR team because I'm pretty sure they just said just find the nicest thing to say about one another and call it a day. That was a PR move.
Listen, we had a late comment come in. I want to read it real quick from Queen. Says love is an action word. So if you don't show up without respectable reason, just stay away until you can. I wanted to make sure we didn't miss that comment. I completely agree, by the way. Anyways, back to Coach Prime. So he was married to Pilar, right?
Yeah.
Has children.
Mm-hmm. That's where they had all the kids.
He talks a really great game.
Huh?
He talks a really great game when it comes to relationships, like what you should do for your wife in your marriage and your relationships. They always do, don't they?
Yeah, but he's not as bad as Steve Harvey, though. Oh, yeah. That's just my personal opinion. But we're going to go there. All right. So that's wild. We are definitely not going to go there.
I don't have no comments.
Huh?
I don't have a comment about Steve. I don't know how many marriages he's on. I have no idea. He talks a good game too, for sure.
Yeah, he does. But I would definitely say he puts himself out there way more than he really should, if I'm being honest.
Well. All right.
All right. So we got a reformed police officer in Pickens County that was suspended. So, man, what's going on here?
Yeah. So TMZ actually posted a video not too long ago, guys, for an officer who tasered a young African-American / Black, I don't know what you call it, male. And this video is quite disturbing. So if you are easily triggered, please do not watch this video, but come back. Don't leave and just not come back. But we're going to play a video so we can get into it, talk about it.
Right there in front of the car. Stay straight.
I ain't doing shit, bro. I got gun right there. I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying, what you saying? Oh, yeah, fuck. I'm not. Oh, my God.
Fuck up.
Okay. Oh, down. Oh, my fuck. Oh, my God.
Shut the fuck up.
God.
You want it again?
No, man.
Shut the fuck up. You was big and bad. Shut your bitch ass up.
So I was hoping this video was a spoof. I was hoping that they was just playing. This is a TMZ video, and they're pretty, buttoned up when it comes to like things of this nature. All I have right now, I don't have the officer's name. I don't even have the gentleman's name, but the only information that we have now is that the officer has been suspended since this video has been released. So that's all the information that we have. Very disturbing. I was like, I don't even know what word to use, Tim. Very disturbing to see this, just because I don't know what happened prior to, but I do know he was handcuffed, being tased. So there's really no reason for that to happen at all.
I mean, we've seen it for years. This is nothing new. We have seen this happen so many times, and it just gets frustrating to see. Now, I know that all police officers are not bad. I say that with a straight face. I know not all of them are bad, but the bad apples make everyone else look bad, and it makes them look intimidating. And it's a shame that even in this situation, watching this man is handcuffed, and it's a clear use of power and force, unnecessary. You had no reason to tase this man. He was compliant the entire time. But it's just another example of the world we live in, where we are not accepted, where we have been degraded, because that's degrading. That's what that man's going to be known for a long time. And so it's just very unfortunate to see.
I agree. I see one comment come in. Sharon says, totally unnecessary. I agree.
Always has been and always will be.
I'm literally like, I'm kind of at a loss for words, because I'm just like, at this point, I should be desensitized from watching videos. But I don't think I'll ever be desensitized from watching stuff like this happen. I think what the most appalling part is just people in power have not learned. Some people in power have not learned. And then in the age of technology, you should know better. So
should, but not everybody knows better. That's the sad part. And it is totally unnecessary. It really is. So.
All right, what else we got? Before you pull that up, if you are watching and you have not subscribed to Tim and Tam Talks, go ahead and click that subscribe and follow button. Hey, Elma, and follow button. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in with us tonight. As Tim mentioned earlier, we are interactive, so talk back at us. Like, I don't like hearing Tim just talk by himself all the time. Sometimes I want to hear y'all, you know?
We definitely want to hear from y'all.
But no, thank you guys for watching. All right, what we got?
So we're going to talk a little bit about something that we didn't talk about as kids, but it's been something that has been brewing for some time. So we're going to talk about young men and emotional intelligence. There was a video that came out, and we have a brother talking about emotional intelligence, and he illustrated what that looked like for young men to really comprehend. So let's take a look and let's see what you think.
Not true. Here's what happens, guys. Do me a favor, okay? I'm going to pour this into this glass, and I want you to tell me when to stop. Deal? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Stop.
Keep going.
Stop it!
Okay. So what? So
I'll drink that.
fellas, let's wait. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna clean it up, fellas. One conversation. All eyes up here, okay?
Excuse me?
Now, fellas, this right here represents us. And what happens is we take in everything that we experience throughout the day, right? But because us as young men, we keep it in. Listen, fellas, trying to be tough. We don't let it out. We don't talk about it. We keep it in. What eventually happens?
You overflow.
We overflow and then we make a mess. Now, this is just water, but a mess could be we cuss the teacher out. A mess could be we got in a fight with our friend. Does everybody understand that? So as young men, we have to find safe places that we can talk about what we are going through and what we're feeling. Does that make sense? Everybody got that?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all did a great job today. Now clean this water up, man.
What? Nah, Ron. Nah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
That was cute.
It was dope. I loved it. I think just how he illustrated how a lot of times when we let things build up and then we are just overflowing, and then afterward we just make a mess. We make a bigger mess because we just don't have a safe place to put a lot of those emotions. And I really wish that I would have had someone, as a man, I wish that I would have had someone doing the same thing, someone that looked like me, someone that comes into my school and says, hey, these are the things that you need to focus on as a young man when it comes to emotional intelligence. That those kids have it so good. And a lot of kids nowadays have it good because we are finally having these conversations as men.
Yeah.
How, like, over the course of the past maybe 5 years, you really haven't heard us talking about a lot of mental health or about emotional intelligence, and those things weren't really talked about. That was taboo stuff. Now those things are being introduced into the fold, and now we could be able to teach one with our kids on how to be emotionally intelligent. We have to pour into our kids, but this is the way we pour into them. We pour into them by us being more emotionally intelligent, being more emotionally aware and self-aware, so that we could be able to teach them, okay, yeah, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to mess up. Okay, but this is how I dust myself off and get back up. Or, okay, I know that I'm angry. What do I do? How do I harness this anger? Where does it go? It shouldn't go on. It shouldn't be a cursing out a teacher situation or getting into a fight with a classmate or anything. But how do I harness that anger? Because anger is not a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing. It can be used for good. But how do we teach those boys how to do it? And that's, so I love what this guy did.
It's like, yeah, it's really beautiful to see that, especially in this day and age where we're still trying to define whether men can have emotions and how to exert their emotions, right? So to see him teach them this at such a very young age, I think is going to be beneficial for not only themselves, but the families that they raise, right? And being able to communicate in relationship. So all of those things that us women, we so desperately ask, you men for, they're going to be, I'm hoping they're going to be able to easily do it in knowing that they have a safe space to actually do it, and the consequence of not doing it, what that shows up as, right? So this was really beautiful to watch.
I loved it. So we're going to keep it going, guys. So we got another interesting situation. So we had a couple of guys on a podcast talking about fears of having a gay son. And this was actually spoken by a man who is gay, who actually said that he wouldn't even want his own son to be gay. So very interesting stuff. So I wanted you guys to check this out and just hear what these brothers had to say.
Do you feel like that may be a little bit of self-hate, that you wouldn't want your son to be a reflection of who you are? Like, I know, and I understand the trauma you probably have to go to, but do you kind of feel like
I don't ever look at it as self-hate, because I love myself. more than anybody. I think that it's just not easy. So that's why I kind of equated it to like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all like, hey, I grew up in the projects. I don't want my child to. You know, I just feel like I want better. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know if better is the right words, because not saying to me nothing is wrong with being gay, but
you want the world to treat gay people better.
Yeah,
and you can't control that.
And you can't control that.
I get it.
I'm gonna alley-oop this to
I
you.
don't know why. I'm going to start with this. I don't know why every week you put me in a hot seat. Okay, guys, I didn't put this topic on here. Okay, I'm just going to start with that. Okay, and then whatever I say is coming from the lens of being a woman of God. Okay, I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm not here to judge anyone. And I'm just going to say this, because don't come for me, because I'm going to come for you right back. I'm just going to say this about the fears of having a gay son. I hear him. I hear what he is saying, and what he is saying does not apply to me in terms of like that fear, or would I even fear having a gay son? I think for me, being a woman of God, my fear is just raising a son or raising a daughter, but we're specifically raising a son that does not know God. That is my fear. And when I say does not know God, that's like all encompassing of everything that God told us we are not, and everything that God told us we are, or who we should be, right? So that is going to be my hard answer on this topic. Where I have some pause with what he's saying is because it's like one breath he's saying, oh, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with this whatsoever. But then it's almost like, if there's nothing wrong, then why is that not resounding? Why is that not echoing through what you want for your own seed? Should you have seed, right? So why is that not permeating or echoing? Something about his answer doesn't sound honest to me. It doesn't sound, I don't care what he said with his mouth, but something about everything else about what he said does not sound honest about why he wouldn't want his own child to live that way, live like him. And I can't prove it, but this is just what I'm feeling. So what you got, Tim?
That brother sounds like he's tormented.
Okay, well.
I'm just saying.
Well, all right. Well, explain.
No, because think about it. I'm just speaking as a man. As a man, I would want my sons to not be me be me exactly, but I would want them to emulate some characteristics and some traits of me. I would want them to pick up positive character traits of me, of their mom. Of course, I will want that, right? I want you to grow up to be a great citizen, to where we taught you the right things in life, right? And so where I say he's tormented is because he should want the same thing for his son, no matter what he is, no matter what his sexual orientation is. If you will want your son, even if he's a gay man, you will want your son to emulate something, even that, about you. Even though he's probably saying I would want him to have the choice, but you still want parents. We want our kids to have a piece of us. That's in each of us, right? We invest in them, we love them, care for them. We want them. We want to instill stuff into them, and that would be one thing I would think. Just me personally, you want to instill your personality in some way, shape, or form in them. That's just me. Now, I could be wrong. This is just my thought, but I'm saying it because it's like you want your son to have better. You want the world to be more accepting. So instead of pushing through the same barriers, you want him to not even go down that route. So to me, it just doesn't make sense. What do you want? You know, what exactly do you want? Like, yeah, you want him to have the choice, but it's opposite from your lifestyle. So to me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So, but But I also get it though. I get it. I think it's important that as long as he's giving his child that love and acceptance, I get that too.
You know what's weird? There are actually people out here that fear having gay kids. Like they fear it, like more than anything. It's like their kids can be anything else, but if they're gay, it's just like the extreme no-no. I don't know what that's about. I have no idea what that's about. And a lot of people are calling themselves believers and they think this way. I shunned that thought. And I was like, I don't know if I told you, like, I don't know if it was like last year, God was dealing with me with watching like gays kiss on TV or, you know, having whatever on TV. I'm like, so this in my mind, I'm like, why are they showing all of this? And God is like, well, do you do the thing when they're fornicating and they're heterosexual? And I was like, no, God, I don't. Thank you for it. You know, so it's just like, if we're going to feel one way about what we consider or what we know as to be like sin, we have to consider the fact that when our kid does any kind of sin, we have to have the same kind of disgust, or else we're like hypocrites. So it can't be like a fear. I don't feel like it should be ever. Like if you're a parent, you should not have a fear of anything, point blank, period. But you definitely shouldn't have a fear of your kid being gay. You should have a fear of them not understanding their call, not understanding who they are, their identity in Christ. If you are a believer, again, I'm talking to believers, that should be your fear, like not being able to redirect them to the one who created them, right? So that would be the ultimate fear. But like anything else, like what he's talking about, I don't, like, to your point, I don't get it, because I would want to have kids that have my same good qualities or characteristics or whatever the case, things that I'm proud about. And to my knowledge, there's pride stuff all the time, and people are proud about however they live, but you're not proud about that to the extent where you want to pass it. That to me is just like, it gives me pause. It gives me some pause. So
yeah, it should. I don't understand it either. I would think that if you're proud of who you are, you want to pass that same pride to some degree down to your kids. That same pride and dignity about yourself. So that's really it. So we're gonna keep it moving. So we survived. We survived that one. It has been an interesting week for our guy Boosie. Boosie is, he's a rapper, producer, and everything else, and he has some interesting sound bites. This time in particular, he talked about how a man can date his daughter, and while dating his daughter, he can cheat on his daughter, but he can't beat on his daughter. So cheat, but can't beat. So take a listen to what Mr. Boosie had to say.
You can cheat on her, but don't beat on her. My daughter just texted me she got a boyfriend. She want me to meet him. Be nice. Just don't hit her. Love her. I don't give a what you do.
Don't take it there.
Just don't hit her. You can cheat on her. I don't give a damn. Whatever. Just don't hit her. My daughters love me, bro. See, my daughters, a daughter and a daddy, bro, that's different, bro.
Like a mom and a son.
Like a mom and a son, bro. A daughter and a daddy. I'm weak for my daughters. That's why my next baby, I want sons. Cause man, my daughters, bro, I can't tell them no, bro. And Ty just text me and say she got a boyfriend, man. I'm happy. I'm so happy. But she want me to meet him. And I'm going to be nice. She want me to be nice because all my girls think I might do too much, but I'm not.
You cheat on her, but don't beat her.
oh my gosh. I think I lost some brain cells listening to this. Like, what the heck? Thank y'all for staying through that tragedy. a mess. First of all, like who's taking this guy serious? This is the same guy that was saying he was paying women to sleep with his young son. That guy, who is taking this guy serious? I was like, I have no idea what kind of father figure you are saying you can cheat on my daughter, just don't beat on her. Like that should be like, no, you don't cheat on her and don't beat on her. And if you can't do those things, then you might want to leave her alone. But to hear him say, no, you get a pass to cheat on my daughter.
Yeah.
What like Twilight Zone are we living in right now? I'm confused.
2023 has given us a dazzle of everything. We have seen it all. We have seen it all. Literally seen it all. And to hear a father say that you can cheat on her but don't beat her. She said we are so unprotected. Yeah, absolutely. To not have your father protect you in that way and say, yeah, you can break her heart by cheating on her, but just don't touch her in that way. It's all bad. It's all bad.
Listen, before we get into it, Sharon and Leslie, we saw your comments come through for the last topic. I wanted to actually put this up here real quick. Leslie says she just joined, and she said, we just show our grandson love who's struggling with this. Although we are Christians, we just show him God's love. So, and that applies to the topic where we were talking about having a, what was the topic, Tim? I don't want to get it wrong.
Leslie, thank you so much for joining. And this was on the Young Men in Emotional Intelligence. So she's pretty much saying that her and her husband are struggling with their grandson with the same thing. But you just got to show them God's love, like she said, and just be a great example. And, just count on your village to show him a different way. It is possible. It is possible for sure. Seeing different examples helps for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Like this whole live, like I'm just like, I don't know what to say.
It's wild. It is wild. But we gonna actually dive into something interesting. So, in the Christian world, we don't talk about this much, and I think it's a conversation that needs to be had a little bit more, right?
Okay.
And so, we're adults here.
You scaring me. What are you talking about?
Is it bad that people have a high sex drive? Now, this is not by me. This is by Pastor Tim Ross. He has talked about this. So take a listen.
You have strong sexual desires because that's the way God created you. You're not dirty. There's nothing wrong with you. It just means your body works correctly. We are sexual beings. And you're finding out that your sexual desires are strong. Some people's sexual desires are mid. Some people's sexual desires are low. You have strong sexual desires. Yay, you found that out. You know it now. And I will say, for those of us that have strong sexual desires, being single and waiting is more intense for us than people that have lower sexual desires. There are some people that are like, I can kind of take it or leave it. If I get married and I start having sex, cool. But if not, I'm just going to be single and free and I'm good. God bless those people. But for the rest of us, is it sinful for me to have these sexual desires? Absolutely not. How do I get rid of it? You don't want to get rid of it. You do not want to get rid of it.
God bless you. Good night. All right.
Is this a topic that we in the church is just such an uncomfortable thing to talk about?
I do think it depends on what church you're going to. But it is very much a taboo conversation, right? Within the church, talking about sex, point blank, period. Very much taboo.
It is. And that's why I wanted to put it up too, is that it's okay to have any type of drive. I mean, it's okay to have any type of drive. I think some people are ashamed for having low sex drives compared to people who are ashamed for having high sex drives. You're a perv if you have a high sex drive. You are a perv, and you need to be talking to the pastor and all this other mess. No, it's when it's done in marriage, of course, it's a great thing. Well, was there a comment that popped out? What was it?
Yeah, your wife commented.
What did she say? A high sex drive is great when yeah, that's a fact.
Hey.
You gotta roll your eyes though.
Hey, keep it down, children.
But it's good that even I love the fact that a pastor had the conversation. Like, yes, it's okay. You don't want to pray it away. It's not a bad thing. It's okay to have a high sex drive, mid, low. I think it's good that he had that conversation. That was really what I loved about it. And that's why I needed to point it out, because when we hear about sex, it's always in a way where it's nasty and it's taboo and it shouldn't be talked about and it's sinful and all these other things. So let's take that out the equation, of course.
Yeah, I think I feel like in the body of Christ, we should have these more fluid conversations, just because I know a lot of people feel like they're sinning to have these sexual desires, right? And it's a part of our nature, right? It's a part of our nature to love. It's a part of our nature to want to be connected. It's a part of that. And we talked about this kind of last week, like how, sex is great. Like your wife said, when you're married, and marriage is good when it's biblical, right? So it's like when you are doing things God's way, it's completely fine. But the problem is that when you're having a high sex drive and you don't have any self-control, right? You don't have no self-control, and you're not married. You ain't thinking about marriage. You're not taking dating serious. You're not taking, your connection serious. You just got this high sex drive, and then you're, doing whatever you want to do. But the Bible, he talked about like, yeah, it's okay, and The Bible says it's better than married than burn. That's what the Bible says. So let's get back to the Bible, right? So if you're somebody with a high sex drive, that means you shouldn't be out here teeter-tottering in these dating streets, knowing that you got fire and desire, baby. Okay. Like, you gotta get yourself together. All right. So you the main one that need to hurry up and lock somebody down. Okay. Man or woman or man. Because women have high sex drives too. Okay. We don't talk about it a lot, but we do. And, you're the type of person that can't be out here on these dating streets like that. Like, you're the ones that need to, take those kinds of things serious. Now, if you're somebody without a high sex drive, and like he said, to his point, like, if you are on an abstinence journey, you kind of found your stride, like I have, then, you can take it easy. I can take it easy when I date. I can take it easy a little bit because I don't have nothing burning in my loins. You feel me? Not right now, I don't. I'm just saying later, but not right now.
Good. Please, Jesus.
Oh, you and your wife can talk about sex drive, but I can't talk about. Okay, got it. Single shaming is what's going on here.
I'm like, what's happening here?
Now you know how I feel. Okay. Listen.
I'm sorry.
Y'all be cutting up in the comments. I get 1 second to do it. Look at you.
I'm just not used to it. I'm like,
it's like, how did we get here? Exactly.
Oh man. Listen, okay, so let's see. It's complicated when you're single.
Yes, it is, girl. Yes, it is.
It can be, especially
it's complicated when you're dating.
loins. Especially if your loins are burning, like Tam said. Definitely. Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
Oh, shoot. It is.
All that woning and woning. Okay, sorry. Sorry.
You were ruining my dinner tonight.
You see, this is what happened when you pick topics. Like this is your fault.
I'll keep this in mind for next week. Shoot. What else we got? My wife says not having certain conversations turns people off regarding Christianity. Avoiding these topics only hurt us. My aunt never explained why certain things were wrong. She just said not to do it. LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times did you hear that? You never got an explanation on why you didn't shouldn't, or you didn't do it. You just were told not to do it. And you're like, and then you're going to go do the same thing that they told you not to do because now you're curious about it. If you would have told me the pros and the cons, like, this going to feel good, but you're not ready to pay that, I'd have been like, oh, okay. All right, that's going to scare me a little bit. I'm going to listen to you a little bit more. But just saying don't do it, that's what I caught from that. It's not a good look. So.
Right. I agree.
So you had another video and you gonna talk about it. So
did I?
Oh yeah. I'm calling you out on this one. So we're gonna jump right in and Tam's gonna lead us into this one. So take a listen.
You blame the father if it's one of those situations where I told you I didn't want it.
Yes.
Why do I have to be a part of this when I said I didn't want it? And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying that deadbeat should have any type of grace at all. But what I am saying is, at what point does the woman take accountability and say, I signed up for this? I signed up for this. When he told me he didn't want it, I knew that it doesn't happen. But I know it doesn't happen, but it should, because when he said he didn't want it, I knew that it was going to be hard. I can't complain about it being hard.
Look, respectfully, I'm trying to take my opinion out of it. You just can't say, I don't want a child, then do the things that produce a child, and then be like, oh, that absolves me from responsibility and accountability. No, you can't do it. Because
but the universe is one of balance. You will have to deal with your creator.
No, what I'm saying is, that's too late. I want you to deal with somebody right now. So, like, it's too late. We're not waiting for the creator on this one.
So yeah, hot topic. Actually came across my feed this week. It was talking about if a man says he's not interested in having a child, even though he laid with said woman, is it the woman's responsibility to maintain full custody, full responsibility of the child, knowing that the man said he wanted no parts? So I'm gonna alley-oop this over to you, Tim. What are your thoughts on that?
The answer is simple to me. The answer is no. It's emphatically no. It does not excuse him. It does not excuse him from taking care of his responsibilities of taking care of the child. You don't get to make the decision that you get to lay down with this person and then make the decision that you're not going to take care of the child. It took two of y'all to lay down and make this child, so it needs to take two of y'all to be responsible for the child, regardless of what your intention was on. If he told you that this isn't what he wanted, oh well. Just because she carrying it don't mean that it was just all her for her to carry that child. It took you to help. So, no, emphatically no. It does not absolve a man from taking care of his responsibilities, even if he didn't want to. Regardless of if you want to take care of that responsibility, if that is a check you can cash, then don't put yourself in that position and then say, hey, okay, God, I'm sorry that I did this, but that's not the consequence that I want to have. You don't get to choose. You don't get to choose.
Yeah. I think what we're dealing with is a generation that just simply lacks accountability. And they are completely fine and comfortable putting accountability on the other party, on the other person, and they will never look at themselves in the mirror and see their part in the outcome. And for a man to be like, I don't have no responsibility, no ties. I told her I ain't want the kid. I told her, like, for a man to do that to me, like, you gotta be pretty. I don't know. I'm trying to use the appropriate word. You just gotta be some kind of person to be that much of a deadbeat in my eyes, because first and foremost, like, okay, y'all already done had sex, okay, bada boom, bada bing, and now you're trying to force her to have an abortion. Like, I mean, what are you really trying to force her to do? So to me, I don't know. You just got to be some kind of heartless, cold individual to have sex with a woman, lay with her, bear a child, and then tell her she on her own. That's me. I don't know. It's kind of hard to defend that.
I agree. For the reasons that we just talked about, I couldn't be that dude, and I couldn't be around other men that would do that or say that.
Yeah, and honestly, I was like, I couldn't be around other women that actually agree with this nonsense. Because women will agree. Some women actually agree with the nonsense. Like, girl, you better with me. I would have went to the clinic. Girl, like, I mean, he told you he didn't want the baby. You dumb. You get, like, all of that. Like, those kind of individuals, there's no way I could be around somebody like that. Nah.
That's just garbage thinking, and it's been recycled too many times, man. So nah, I agree with you on that. All right, so we have one last topic. Husbands and spiritual awakenings. So, and we've really been talking a lot about men and trying to hone in on that. You know, brothers, we don't talk too much about us. So we're gonna kind of dive into this. There was a brother who he pretty much had a spiritual awakening, and his wife played a great part in that. So just take a listen.
I was not a good enough man when I met you, and I was painfully aware of that. I was broken, insecure, lost. I had a whole lot of self-doubt. I had been exposed to bad leadership, bad people, made bad decisions. Nothing about who I was a walking red flag.
Listen.
Nothing about who I was good enough for the type of woman that you were. And you only got better, and I had to become better. And we had so much friction in the beginning of our marriage, and well, not in our marriage, but in our relationship, because I was broken and I was actively breaking myself to put a new version of me back together that could be with you. And people don't get that. I'm not who I am today by accident. I chose to be better, and I rejected a lot of what I was before to be here.
I love every bit of this. I don't know who this person is, but I love every bit of his vulnerability. I love the fact that he removed ego and pride. I love the fact that he was able to point out his flaws and his wrong. I love the fact that he was able to see her value even when he couldn't see his own value. I love everything about this video.
I did too. I saw a brother who had seen the light. That's what I saw. This man was like, when you do this, I mean, you passionate about what you are talking about, which means like, man, I figured it out. When you are a man and you figure out your purpose in life and you figure out who you are and you really start to see the better version of yourself without self-sabotaging, when you start to see that, you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. That's why it goes so hard for us men. Because I'm like, man, when you start to see you past the mistakes and past the faults and past the things that you used to do, and you start to be who you are and operate in who you are today, and then just build off of that on who you continue to be, when you get there, man, you are a killer out here in these streets. Now you're moving different. Now you're not to be played with. And that brother is not to be played with. He loves his wife, and he gets a lot of the love that he gets, the support that he gets, and all the energy that he's getting. You could just tell that's being bounced off of him from his wife. That's what we do. That's what good wives do. Good wives pour and instill that into us so that we can continue to be the best version of ourselves. True help means. And so when you see us shining and gleaning and doing all that, you know it's because we got a good woman behind us. I mean, like, you know, of course, as single men, you want to strive to be that way too. No question about it. But behind every good man, there is a good woman. For real. Well, we don't get there by ourselves.
Yeah. I just love the video. I think one of the impactful things is just him really being able to identify he needed to be better and he had to break the old version of himself that was broken and just become a brand new person. And for him to be able to sit there with his wife, not move on, but to be able to sit with the person who saw him in his broken state and be better, because she was there when he was broken and she was there when he decided to become better. So it's like, shout out to him for being able to recreate himself and still stay with his first love. And then shout out to her for being able to see something in him, even though he himself said he was a walking red flag, when she probably could have ran the other way. So it's just like to see two people kind of operate in grace and love, and then actually see kind of what is birthed from that when you do it the right way, when you identify your flaws and you see each other's value. It's just a beautiful thing to see. So I love it.
I do too, Tams. Well, we've gotten to the end of the show, so go ahead and ramble off.
I ain't got nothing. I'm gonna pull you. I ain't got nothing.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll cut you some slack. So I will go ahead and start tonight. I always love to alley-oop these things back to her, you know, but I'm gonna go ahead and start tonight. So talked about inconsistency in parenting. Let's go ahead and make sure that you are protecting yourselves. If you're an adult and you're dealing with an inconsistent parent, even as an adult, make sure you guard your heart. But also, if you are an inconsistent parent, you know, and if we've ever been at that place where you've been guilty of that, make sure that you just get back on, because you just never know, you can run out of chances. So just be real careful with that. Husbands in spiritual awakenings, it's good to see brothers being able to fully express themselves in relationships and marriages, and you can actually see the strength of a good woman on good men based off of that. And because of that, this man has his purpose. It's a beautiful thing to see. And he is no longer a walking red flag. He seems to be a walking green flag. So that's dope. Is it bad that I have a high sex drive? Absolutely not. Enjoy your sex drive, whichever level you are on. It is great. It is great in the sight of God when it's done correctly through marriage. A great lesson for sure. Also, fears of having a gay son. Very confusing video. We'll definitely just say that. But we should fear our sons sinning against God. Pastor Brian Carter, he said something very impactful that's been on my heart and spirit for the past few days. But he said that we are all a half an inch away from breaking God's heart. It's each and every one of us. So sin is the ultimate thing. So really, it's like we should be afraid of sinning against God. And when we talk about those types of things, relationships and those types of things, you just have to ask yourself, is that breaking God's heart above all? And would that break your heart as far as your son? We talked about Prime. It's been a rough week for him. And Boosie said the craziest thing about his daughter. What in the world? You rather your daughter get cheated on but not beat on? Okay, that's just the world we live in now. Our daughters are not protected. We also talked about young men and emotional intelligence. It was dope just to see a black man talk to a bunch of kids, young boys, about emotional intelligence. And then just lastly, we hope that Pickens County police officer loses her job, gets sued by the city, and that young man will get a decent settlement for his own troubles. So we just hope that he prayed and hope that he's okay. So those are my final thoughts. What you got, Tay?
I ain't got nothing.
Not gonna have me go through all that and then say nothing.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Coach Prime, I got nothing. Hopefully he'll learn from some of the regurgitated words he puts out here in these podcasts around relationships. So hopefully he can bounce back. Beyond that, fear of having a gay son, I don't fear it. whatsoever. I don't fear it. The video we watched, again, very, very weird, very unbelievable. Okay, very unbelievable. Boosie, why are we even talking about it? I have no idea. The reformed police officer in Pickens County, to Tim's point, absolutely. Hope they press charges. I hope he gets the young man she violated gets a settlement. I hope he's okay as well. I don't know how emotionally stressful that would have been, because he didn't know if she had the regular gun or the taser. So I don't know. Anyways, hopefully that situation works out in his favor. Beyond that, is it bad to have a high sex drive? Absolutely not. Okay. When you get married, you better come in that door. All right, God bless you. All right. And then husbands and spiritual awakening, fellas. It is my hope and desire. Every week I get a little bit of hope I've already had hope. I raised by a good man. Okay. But I get more hope watching these videos, seeing men be vulnerable. And vulnerable to me is saying, I made the mistake, or I was not who I needed to be for you, but I am now that man because I have chosen not to be for you, but because I saw myself in the areas that were broken in me, and I decided to be a better man. Like it's just something about hearing a man be able to say that, and that segues to the boys learning emotional intelligence and being able to, be poured into in terms of like what they're dealing with and what they have to carry. We talked about that last week, and being able to exert that in the appropriate way. So shout out to that teacher or young man actually teaching those young boys that. And then the inconsistent parent, guys, to Tim's point, like if you are an inconsistent parent, I'm just going to stretch my hands towards you and say, do better. Okay. Just do better. Like what you do affects your kids. These are not your nephews and nieces. These are your seed, your legacy, and they look up to you and they value you. So showing up, I know gifts are nice, but showing up is like the most expensive present that you could give your child, just being there. So I hope you do better. And, men or women, if you're dealing with an inconsistent parent, I don't have an answer for you. Okay. People are saying show up with grace and love and just let them teeter totter back in. I don't know. Some people are saying create a boundary, guard your kids' hearts, guard your heart in that expectation. I have no idea. I'm just going to say, pray about it and see what God shows you. And then also just be able to use your discernment in those situations. That's all I got, Tim.
Great final thoughts. Well, guys, we want to thank you so much for tuning in with us here at Tim and Tam Talks, the Back Pew. We thank you so much. We will be back here.
Wait. We got one more video, don't we?
Nah.
Yes, we do.
I'm about to frolic.
Oh my God. I'm frolicking. I got on a pink shirt.
Black man, go frolic. All right, what you got? I'm sorry. It's okay to frolic. All right, that's all all right, you can have it. I'm sorry, you can have the mic back. Okay.
All right. Well, guys, we want to thank you guys so much for joining us here at Tim and Tam Talks, the Back Pew. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. We are on YouTube, Facebook Live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central. So thank you guys so much. Sharon, good night. Thank you so much. We enjoyed the talk with you as well. And we pray that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. So thank you again.
Bye.
My wife and I first started dating. She bought me some flowers.
She romanced you.
She romanced me.
Got it.
Is it weird to you? I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get comfortable with it.
Did she hold the door for you?
Yo, no, we're not.
I could see a pedicure.
Would you do?
Depends on his feet.
That could be Mara's feet, and you can do it.
No way, you about to be cutting up my hands.
Yo, what's going on? This
The Tim and Tam Talks. All right, look, bring it home. Let's get into this.
We're gonna have a lot of great conversations.